as we start to explore the 7 cards of the tarot that outline the path of the seeker. I'm going to use 2 books throughout this series of the Maps of the Psyche. The first is The Tarot, A Key to the Wisdom of the Ages by Paul Foster Case. The second is Thursday Night Tarot by Jason C. Lauderhead. I highly recommend both books. Both of these books and the tarot card set we will use are based on the builders of the addendum. Paul Foster Case, the creator of the set of tarot cards, explains each card and its intricate symbolism in depth. That's what sets this tarot card set apart. We actually get to learn the intent of the creators of this set of tarot cards. Most people think of the Rider-Waite set when they think of tarot cards. However, Rider never gave an in-depth explanation of those cards because he preferred to keep everything secret and mysterious. What I am creating with this series of videos is just the briefest summary. As always, it is up to you to continue your research on your own if this subject perks your curiosity. There are some stories about the history of the tarot that I want to take a moment to address. This will be based on a presentation that Richard Smalley gave at the Theosophical Society, and I will link that video in the description box below. Some say that the playing cards as we know them today with their hearts, spades, clubs, and diamonds are a descendant of the tarot. However, there is no evidence that this is true, and there are depictions of playing cards prior to the first written evidence of tarot. The earliest hint of a system similar to the tarot started off with a series of poems by Francisco Petrarch around 1500. The tarot was generally considered a game, although the rules have been lost. The first written evidence of the tarot being linked to divination was in the 1800s. Divination, by the way, means fortune-telling. There is a belief that the tarot originated in Egypt. However, there is no evidence that that's the case. Paul Foster Case states the tarot is a pictorial textbook of ageless wisdom. He was taught and believed that the origin of the tarot dated back to 1200 AD. He explained it was a council of people in Morocco with many languages that developed the system to share their knowledge in picture form using archetypes. Although the set of pictures were shared, the meanings were not written down, but were an oral tradition. Paul Foster Case also laid the tarot cards on the Kabbalah tree of life and connected them to the 22 Hebrew letters. Each of the 22 major arcana is supposed to be used in meditation. This is a visual sort of meditation where you actually take a look at the image that you're staring at and slowly integrate all of the symbolism that you see, understanding that what you're seeing and what sticks out to you is what's most pertinent to you when looking at the tarot card. We will start our journey off with the Fool card because it is a very important card. This card isn't listed as one of the 7 associated with the spiritual path. However, it symbolically represents the start of any journey. The card number is 0, which represents raw potential or no thing. This card also represents the higher self. How can the card be both? Well, here's the fun part about these journeys. Each time we learn more about ourselves, because we are made in the image of our Creator, as they say, we learn more of the Creator. So every time we study an aspect of ourselves, we're learning something new about what I call the one Creator. You may call it God, the Force, Source, whatever suits your needs. As Jason Lauderhead notes, this key is above the other 21 keys of the tarot. In effect, it is the most important key in the pack. Superconscious self lies in the land of no thing. The Fool card lies outside the realm of our physical reality. This is the void of the Buddhist and indigenous American traditions, Brahman in the Hindu tradition. This is what Thomas Campbell calls the absolute unbounded oneness that existed prior to creation. The Hebrew word associated with this tarot card is Aleph, which became our English A. The letter translates into bull or ox. The Hebrew name for this principle is breath, which is equivalent to the word spirit in English. This, according to Paul Foster Case, is the all-pervading cosmic energy that animates every living creature. The pale yellow shade of this card represents the scintillating intelligence that has a connection to fire or electricity, which represents the consciousness that forms all reality. The Fool is neither male nor female, but can be projected upon to represent either based on the viewer. The white sun represents the pure no thing from which all life proceeds. Light of this no thing radiates to all planets and systems. White represents the limitless light from which all colors are derived. It also represents the highest center on the Kabbalah tree of life, which is Kether, a Hebrew word that translates as crown. The wreath around the Fool's head represents the vegetable kingdom. The golden hair of the Fool also represents the scintillating intelligence. The red feather represents the animal kingdom that evolved from the plant kingdom. Red usually symbolizes desire and truth. The Fool faces to the northwest, which represents the unknown. His white undergarment represents perfect wisdom, and on it is the tetragrammaton, which is the 4 Hebrew letters often translated as Yahweh. This name represents the ultimate reality that contains our physical reality. He wears a black garment that represents ignorance and the physical world. The outer red garment represents desire and passion. The items on the outer garment include the sun and moon and the triple flame of consciousness. These symbols show that all those who step onto this journey have the protection of the cosmos. Note each of the layers of the clothes are just aspects of the character he has chosen to play and can be laid aside. The wand represents willpower. The purse that hangs from the end of the wand, with the all-seeing eye and eagle, represents all this individual's experiences from prior rounds of manifestation. The all-seeing eye also represents that when we develop the correct sight, we can access our own prior experiences. The 10 stitches on the purse represent the 10 types of perception that a person can develop. The white rose represents purified desire. All roses in the tarot represent desire nature. Purified desire represents focusing the intent on a specific area. The rose doesn't represent morality, but a single focus of purpose. His girdle represents 12 signs of the zodiac. The green leggings represent elements of the earth. The yellow shoes represent air. The little white dog represents the spiritualized intellect. Dogs are the descendants of wolves and represent nature modified into something friendlier by humanity. Dogs are loyal companions, which is what the intellect is supposed to be. However, when we let ego rule, it places itself in command. To think of someone being ruled by their dog may seem funny, but it happens very often. Watch a few episodes of Dog Whisper with Cesar Millan, and you'll probably start to see what the ego does to a human being who lets it rule. The fact that this dog is white symbolizes that it is the intellect purified of the ego, serving our young adventurer. The Fool is depicted as young and inexperienced because it has not entered into the current cycle of self-expression. Also note that the Fool is depicted on a cliff on the top of a mountain. This individual climbed that mountain during its previous cycle of experience and will inevitably climb another during this cycle of experience. On a personal side note, I find it pretty amusing that I myself have a little white dog that I picked out long before I started out on this part of my spiritual journey. Also worth noting, and what this card always reminds me of, is the goddess Artemis and the various Greek statues depicting her with a hunting hound. Isn't this a nice place to begin our journey through the 7 cards of the tarot that represent the spiritual path? As always, at the start of something there is endless potential. We won't really know how things will fall out until we experience them. No one knows what choice they will make in the moment. We may project the various outcomes that we would desire, but we don't actually know what we will choose and exactly what will happen as a result. Luckily, when it comes to this journey, we do have these maps of the psyche laid out by others who have gone on this interpersonal journey themselves. Thank you for joining me on our latest quest where we will explore the 7 tarot cards of the spiritual path. I hope to demystify these images for you and make them more applicable to your personal life.